How's it going, guys? Daniel here, coming at you through God's grace with yet another video. As I'm sure you can tell by the thumbnail or by the title, we're here to talk about split share, what it is and how to negotiate it. So often when you're putting an ATM in a business, part of the negotiations or part of the contract or part of what the business owner wants is a share of the profits. Now, obviously you want to pay them pretty much as least as possible because then it cuts into your profits. Now, there's two main ways to do this. One main way would be to give them a set rate per transaction, which is what I recommend, or you give them a percentage of each transaction. Now, the pro to doing a set rate per transaction is that no matter how high that you raise your surcharge, you give them the same amount of money. So let's say you negotiated with the business owner to give them 50 cents per transaction. Well, whether your surcharge is $3 or $4 or $5, you're gonna give them their set rate of 50 cents. So you can raise your surcharge or lower your surcharge whenever you want, but that set rate still stays the same per transaction. Now, that versus a percentage per transaction, well, if you raise your surcharge from $3 to $4, well, guess what? Now you owe them more money. So if you agreed to give them, let's say, 20% of the transaction, well, now the money that you give them just went up because you raised your surcharge. So I don't recommend doing the percentage if you can avoid it. Now, guys, to be honest with you, this is a business. So when I start talking to a new business owner about putting an ATM in their location, I never actually bring up split share. I don't offer them any money up front. You never want to be the first person to give out a number in a negotiation. That's just business 101. So unless they ask for a split share or for a share of the profits, a share of the surcharge, I don't offer it. So that way I get to keep all my surcharge and that just gives me more power to do whatever I want. They still get the benefit of having an ATM in their location and to be able to receive cash. That's gonna benefit them in other ways as well. Even if they accept card, then it'll cut down on the processing fees that they have to pay their card processor. Because if you don't already know, anybody who uses a card processor has to pay their card processor a percentage or a set rate per transaction. So it actually costs them money for people to use their credit or debit cards. But if people are paying with cash, well, guess what? They don't have to pay any money towards that. So it benefits them in that way. And obviously, if the business is cash only, then the benefits to them is pretty obvious, right? They have an ATM there. Nobody has an excuse to not buy something at their business because they can go get cash. So let's just assume that the business owner is asking for a split share. They brought it up, and now it's time to negotiate. Business 101 again, you start low so they can give you room to grow. I always start off at 25 cents a transaction. Now this can vary on the actual location. Obviously, if it's a really good location with a lot of foot traffic and they're cash only, I'll definitely be willing to start off at a higher minimum because it sounds like it's gonna be a good money maker. So I might start off at 50 cents, might even start off at 75 cents. Now, another thing that you guys can do is if somebody's asking you for a higher set rate than you're willing to give, there's a few different ways you can go about it. You can tell them, okay, I'll give you your 75 cents per transaction, but I don't start actually paying you until I've made 50 transactions, 25 transactions, whatever number that you choose. Also, another way that you can kind of agree to somebody asking for a higher set rate per transaction than you're willing to give is to give them more responsibility. So remember, you own the ATM, but you can actually have them fill up the ATM with cash. So if somebody's asking for $1 per transaction, you can say, okay, sounds good, but if you're gonna ask me for more money, then I'm gonna need more responsibility from you, and I'm gonna need you to refill the money with your own, to refill the ATM with your own money. So that way, it completely makes it so that that ATM is completely passive for you. You just own the ATM, and they're actually refilling the money themselves. So it makes more sense to pay them a little more money to have that responsibility versus not having that responsibility, and you're just paying them a high set transaction rate. So remember, guys, be creative with it. This is your business. you can set things the way that you want to. So if somebody doesn't like the transaction rate that you're offering them, I would honestly, and you can't figure out how to do it, I would just recommend just moving on to the next location, because you don't want to sign up in a contract. You don't want to like put an ATM in there and then you not make enough money, guys. This is passive income, but it's semi-passive income. So because it does take you some work, you will have to install it, you will have to uninstall it if you ever have to move it, and you will have to visit that location probably at least once or twice a month to refill the money. So it's semi-passive income. It does require work to keep up, so you have to make sure that you're getting paid for your time. Don't forget to check out my course if you want a super head start on starting your own ATM business, guys. And until next time, God bless you, and we'll see you in the next video.